You mentioned a guy that you want to have on your team, a winner, must-haves, Andrei Vasilevskiy. Now, I have a take for you, and I want to explain you this first, and to the people listening, and then get your opinion. I personally think he's on steroids. I think Andrei Vasilevskiy's on steroids, and here's why. You have a goaltender who's 6'4", almost 6'5", moves better than everybody else, is faster than everybody else, and it's not even in the same category. There's him, and then there's the rest. How else do you get like that? I mean, you can make the argument that there's this massive Russian invasion of goaltenders, Sorokin, Shesterkin, Georgiev, Vasilevskiy, Varlamov. You have all of these Russians. Taysov in Columbus.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah, the thoughts on that, very, very simple. Who knows? Who knows if they're on it or not? Vasilevskiy himself is a highly talented, incredibly gifted, strong athlete, and you just have him. Arnold Schwarzenegger, comes in, he's got a beautiful physique, regardless of taking drugs or not. I can take 10 times the drugs, wouldn't have the physique he has. But Vasilevskiy, typical Russian player, strong-minded, very, very strong mentally, fully athletic. He's naturally big. When I was on the ice in Madison with some of the guys that were on there were like Jake Allen. Jake Allen and Ben Bishop, they skate like they're 5'7". They're so fast and so in control of their body. It's like taking a 5'7" guy and elongating them. Then you add athleticism and breaking from structure that Vasilevskiy, I don't think you're going to see a goaltender like Vasilevskiy again for probably another 25 years. He's just absolutely incredible. Now, the influx of Russian goalies, the secret behind the whole thing is that the Russian Federation, went to Finland, identified some of the things that they have, and they have a structured book in Finland that talks about what you should teach, when you should teach it, why it works, all the way through that. I can't read it, it's in Finnish. But the bottom line is they've got a structure that all goalie coaches agree upon, and then they allow the creativity and the intelligence of the goaltending coach to individualize their approach. The Russians took that and they built upon it, from advice from Vladislav Tretiak, whom I've coached with a couple of times, way at the beginning of my career in coaching goaltenders. And that man was incredible, and a huge man, and a man with hands like, you're shaking hands with 5 bananas, basically. It's just like incredible. But he just understands the game at a completely different level. That's Vasilevskiy. He understands the game. He does the small things, like even the reverse poke check when you try to come across, where most goaltenders would turn and slide. He turns a stick over and poke checks you. He just thinks at another level. And I think that the Russians have now taken that structure from Finland, the blocking power of Sweden, the North American kind of compete level and breaking from structure, and then you've created this Russian, steroid monster, that I think comes from knowledge versus the drugs themselves. Ilya Sorokinin, you've got all these different guys that are really playing at the top level of their game, and it's that competitive nature. And I bring it back to, even the MMA. When you look at, the former champion there, what's his name?
McGregor?
What's that?
McGregor? Khabib?
No, Khabib. Okay, so you look at Khabib, you even look at some of his coaching things. He goes, listen, I don't care if you hate me, it doesn't matter. But you'll never quit. And if you do quit, I won't coach you. So it won't make any difference. But he says, you can go there, a guy can break your arm, you can do whatever, you can lose, but you never quit. And that's basically the Russian way. I hate to, give them lots of praise in the fact that all these things are going around worldwide. But when you break it down to hockey, never mind the political forefront or background, you start looking at what makes them incredible hockey players. Hey man, all you have to do, go back to the 1987 series, Canada Cup series, and tell me. Every game ended 8-7. And it was incredible, some of the best hockey anybody's ever seen.
I think one of the reasons why I like to work with you is I think you're the most detailed goalie coach that I've ever met. And I know you're very humble about it, but it's true.
Thank you.
It is very true.
Yeah. Ian Clark, I'd argue Ian Clark, there's not a font small enough that Ian Clark can get his message across. It is what it is.
Well, even if you were the Walmart version of Ian Clark, let's just say.
That's a good way to put it.
Hypothetically speaking,
yeah.
I think that anytime I post a video with you on the ice, we do a podcast, people respect what you have to say. Now, I'm curious, as somebody who I personally think I respect you more than anybody else because I come to you for knowledge and advice.
Oh, thanks.
When you see Andrei Vasilevskiy, what do you see as a goalie coach?
I see an athlete that's got the full package. He's mentally tough. He's incredibly fit. He moves like he's 5'7", but he's really 6'5", probably 6'7" on skates. I see a goaltender that's highly intelligent and incredibly on the edge of, I think he's maximized his adrenaline. If you ever get a close-up look at Vasilevskiy's eyes, I don't think they could be wider than they are. In fact, they're probably too wide. Not being critically as a goaltending coach, but just like, how do you get your eyes that wide? And he just has the ability to take all of the information in and make the right decisions more often than most goalies.
Is there a technical aspect you see, like him executing on the ice? You're like, damn, that's difficult for me to get my students to do. I can't get over how efficient and how excellent he is at this.
His ability to go down and then transition and change direction, and then of course spread himself out. You think you've spread himself out, and then he adds another foot and a half to his ability to perform, and it's incredible. But not only that, when he's absolutely one and done, spread out, looks like he can't recover, boom, he's then back into the RVH, scanning, looking, and knowing when to get up. So his timing mechanisms in the game are so sharp. They're so sharp and so precise that he's up before other guys are. He doesn't sit there like everybody else does. As soon as his team has possession, boom, he pops out of the RVH, he's ready to go. I just did a video on Jack Campbell the other day. It's the same idea. There's too much delay when you want to recover at times. Vasilevskiy's like, he's on, and when he's on, he's very scary.
And it's because he's wearing sheath underwear.
That's right. I mean, hey, if you're going to wear the best protection on the ice, you might as well wear the best off, don't you?
It's not a paid endorsement. It's not official, but the team at Sheath Underwear power this podcast as they do every week.
Hey, more hockey content. It's might be old, it might be new, it might be a full episode, it might be a half episode, but you can click these boxes because who doesn't like clicking boxes?